Here we go. Tonight from Indiana, 1925, South Bend, Indiana Tribune
100 years ago.
runs an article that says skeleton in armor is found in Indiana mound.
Mm,
Interesting discovery made near Walkerton, Indiana. The burial place of count them, 9 giants,
9 giants.
said to be between 8 and 9 feet tall.
Wow.
Ceremonial copper, uh, like wrist shields. I think they had, what they say they had, not bongs, but pipes,
Okay. Hookah pipes.
necklaces, headdress.
So people of some importance, maybe
It would
warriors, possibly.
it would seem to show that it was. It says precious ore, curiously wrought pipes, and other articles reward the brothers who brave jeers of neighbors to make excavation. I'm just
Mm.
going to read this old article just in the old tongue.
Yeah, give us
A skeleton in copper armor, the bones of 8 other men of some period far distant in the past. Curiously wrought pipes and other interesting relics were found by 2 brothers, residents of this county, who braved the jeers of their neighbors and opened an old mound on the farm of Grove Vossberg near Potato Creek, 3 miles north of Walkerton. Jesse Litchfield, who lives a half-mile northwest of Tea Garden, and it says this county, and Carl Litchfield, who lives in Tea Garden, had long been curious about the ancient mound and finally obtained Mr. Vossberg's permission to open it. To avoid being laughed at in case of failure, they let it be known that they were going to work in Mr. Vossberg's cornfield, which is near the mound. They already had. Why did they have to have a
cover story?
cover story? I mean, this was how many years was this predate Geraldo Rivera?
And unless they already had a predetermined idea of what they were going to find, why would anybody have an idea to make fun of them? Like you're just exploring at that
So
point.
before I read on, like they knew this mound was here and that and it bothered them to the point they wanted to explore it, and they asked the guy that owned the place, "Can we dig into this and see what it is?" I mean, there had been Indian burial mounds throughout the Midwest and in southern Indiana. I can tell you, researching and then came across this was there were burial mounds that were found in southern Indiana that they left alone, but there's some of them that are in peculiar formations, peculiar shapes, and some that are thought to be sort of pyramid in shape. And a couple of them, you're not allowed to go in to explore them for whatever reason. No one's ever been allowed to go in and explore them.
Conspiracy theories here.
That's right. Put on the tinfoil hat, baby.
So there must have been a burial lore about this, and
my guess,
and they thought, oh, there might be some remains in here, but just in case, we're not really looking here.
Right. If we don't find them,
right. Okay.
Jesse Litchfield, who lives half-mile north of, I think I said this part. What does it say here? They got the permission to open it to avoid being laughed at. The mound is known to date far beyond the memory of anyone now living. So this was 1925.
Yeah, 100 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Between 2 buildings on the farm is a hollowed-out place which some centuries ago may have been excavated to carry the earth which made the mound which made the mound a half a mile distant. So a half a mile away was a sort of impression in the earth where they figured this dirt could have been dug out and brought to this. And it says here, 8 skeletons found. Mr. Vossberg is 74 years old. What, they talking about his skeleton already? He was told by his father that 110 years ago, a great oak tree, a yard or more through, grew on the mound, which was originally 25 feet high, but which has been worn down in the passage of time. The oak tree fell about 20 years ago. Estimates on the age of the mound vary, but it is believed possible that it may date back 500 years or more.
Wow.
Digging down from the top of the center of the mound, the Litchfield brothers, at a depth of 12 feet, were rewarded by coming upon human bones. They found 8 skeletons lying like the spoke of a wheel with the skulls in the center.
Hmm.
On one of the skeletons, a large one, judging from the size of the bones, were pieces of copper armor, breastplates, and other bands, eroded by the years, but still easily recognizable.
Okay.
A beautifully wrought arrowhead, trying to see where the rest of this was found as well, and other relics. Trying to see here. Let's go. Da, da, da. So they were finding all of these little relics and stuff in there. And
so just in the dirt, it doesn't
12 feet
describe
down.
it doesn't describe any sort of covering or in like a some sort of a protection,
Right.
just in the dirt.
Right.
500 years. It's I don't know much about bones
Well,
and how they deteriorate.
There's something to the way they were laid.
Mhm.
So why were they all gone at the same time?
Right.
Or was it processional? Each time a leader died, they put them in there in order until they made this wheel,
And then
or they were
covered it.
all dead and they did the wheel. The discussion of giants, if we're just going to refer to these as giants, let's say 8 to 9 feet, yeah, those were going to be giants. I think that maybe, I don't know, I don't mean to disrespect the dead, but I just want to say, like, I don't know any other better way to put it, but like if you compare to dogs, right? Sometimes we breed down dogs. Like if you look at the Newfoundland dog, it's a huge, huge dog compared to a Labrador. But a Labrador's genus is the lesser Newfoundland because
Okay.
they bred it down for speed, for hunting, to get in and out of little places. Just over time, they sort of came out with this sort of streamlined version of the bigger dog.
Right.
Same thing with humans. We know there's people that are 8 or 9 feet tall. To this day, there's people that are almost 8 feet tall.
Right.
Professional basketballs players, preferably. If you see somebody that tall, it's like, hey, we need you on the team.
Sure.
Plenty of 7-footers out there. Plenty of in between 7 and 8 foot tall people. Not 8 or 9 feet, but we know what the tallest guy was around 13 feet some odd inches. There's a guy in the wax museum that was like,
I don't think it was 13. I think he was close to 9 feet.
9 feet.
The wall
9 feet 13 inches.
Walden, something like that.
But it's said that there's people that have been even taller than that in history. So I feel like over time, people got smaller. I'm not saying that every human used to be 14 feet tall, but it's just like there's people are different. There's, like I said, there's still 7 or 8 foot people out there.
So it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Not at all.
This is not a hoax. They really were.
Yeah. And in 1925, to dig down 12 feet and find 8 large boned skeletons in a wheel. The first thing I'm asking is, well, how did you get 8 people of that size or whatever dead at the same time? Mm-hmm. Was there a battle? Was there a cataclysm,
disease, or
something? And then it was sort of a respectful burial, but to put them in this position signified something. It was a half mile from where you got the dirt. Why was it in this particular spot compared to where you got the dirt? Was it, you know what I mean? Like, it was a house in 1925, and his father or the grandfather knew history of the land 100 years before because he was older.
Right.
So there was a long history of that same family being there, and they left it alone. But what brought out the curiosity in these guys was, like you said, was maybe they had heard of these mounds before and thought, this looks too where it's at in between these buildings. Nobody's messed with it. Why haven't you tried to dig it out of the way?
It's not just a regular mound. It's a burial
mound.
The
guy said there was a tree, a 20-foot oak tree, but it fell. I mean, I always thought that as much as sticks out of the ground is in the ground.
Root system.
The root system. So why did it just fall over? And then you find these really nice, well-preserved bones with metal, but maybe that's what it was, the metal. Copper. You stick a penny in a copper nail in a tree and it kills the tree, right? Isn't that the old tale? You're supposed to stick the copper nail in like a 10-penny nail. I think you're supposed to drive a 10-penny nail in a tree when you cut it down so it'll rot it, and then you can get rid of it easier.
There you go.
So maybe there's something to that.
Mm-hmm. The root system got down to that copper and
water leached, and but it doesn't answer why they weren't wrapped, why they weren't in any kind of box.
And is that a common thing to have just the earth 12 feet down covered by that much dirt does not rot away bone. Like bone will be preserved that long, not in
Right.
the elements,
Right.
but you know what I mean? It's just in surrounded
Yeah.
by microbes in the dirt, the worms, whatever.
Right.
Hmm.
It's pretty wild. And this happens to fall pretty close to where we live, to where we could actually go find this
Right.
if it was still there,
Go-
or
go-
find where it
Go
was.
visit Mr. What's his name? Lynchburg?
Dan Fogelberg, the singer. I don't know.
Fogarty.
I would think that you could probably look up some old maps or something. This guy, so Mr. Vosberg that owned the land,
Okay.
he was 74, but told by his father that 110 years ago. So that was only 25 years before he was born.
Right.
He was told that a great oak tree that was a yard or more through, 3-foot round oak tree.
Sure.
That's a pretty big root system.
Yeah.
Then it dies, and then you dig down only. So how high was this mound that you only go down 12 feet?
25 foot. Did they say 25 foot tall?
Yeah.
So halfway through it.
Right.
And so you brought up just a side comment there that there's other burial mounds that you're not allowed to, go.
Nobody's been able to go
explore them. One, common sense would say, okay, because you want to preserve the sanctity of the death and give them, final resting peace and not disturb them. But the other side of it could be they don't want you knowing what's actually in there. They don't want you unearthing these other giants or these other
it's
history.
It's 2025 now. We don't have to unearth. You can get the radial spectrograph, deep penetrating LiDAR, and it's on wheels, and just wheel it over the thing and make a map and say, you got 10-foot giants in here with a lot of jewelry on.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
I say we go raid them. But there's even stuff they can do from satellites. There's stuff they can do from the air. And so if these guys were looking for treasure and they thought, well, it's a mound, it looks like a burial mound. We've heard of these burial mounds. Maybe there's treasure, because I don't know how much you would have heard of in 1925 about the Egyptians or the pyramids. You would have known about their existence possibly, and maybe heard a little bit. But there was probably always talk of tomb raiding and things like that. So then maybe this just sparked their curiosity. But it makes me think about these other treasure hunting shows that are popular now. Like these guys are on Oak Island and they can never find the treasure. But then you see a guy that's over in the Philippines and he had something done from satellite images and told him exactly what was in the ground. And it's like, well, guys, call up their guy.
Yeah.
Get the pictures taken. I mean, there's just so much stuff out there. I think the world is smaller by degrees because of the internet, but at the same time, it's still a big place, and there's still so many little nooks and crannies that are untapped, undiscovered,
right,
unsearched, and it's interesting just to look at the lens or through the lens of just in our country, all the things that are still out there. People are still discovering all the time. And then you think back, like you said, a century, and these guys had these dreams and ideas. We're going to get in that mound. We're going to ask this guy. But before we do, we're going to get a cover story.
Just in case we don't find anything.
We're working in the cornfields. If you're wondering, if you happen to wonder why I'm over here, I'm working in the cornfield.
And maybe it wasn't to avoid the jeers and laughs of the neighbors.
Yeah.
It was in case they found something valuable. They didn't want people knowing what they were doing and finding.
I thought that was kind of funny. They braved the jeers. I'm like, two guys over the fence, drinking out of a jug. Hey, Barney,
what are you finding there? Like more dirt.
It's like the two guys on the Muppets. Yeah. Hey, he thought he was going to find something. But
so some 8 and 9 foot giants from Walkerton, Indiana.
It's interesting to think about that in terms of modern day, when you're driving around and you see things and you might think that doesn't look right. no big deal. You just keep, you keep going.
Right.
And maybe that was happening even then. The world was just moving on. I mean, you had people, it was said that it was sitting in between two buildings on this farm. So like life was just moving on. We're going to build, we're going to leave it alone. We probably have an idea that that could be a burial mound. We're going to leave it alone,
Right.
but I bought the land and I still need the farm. So, whatever.
Sure.
Um,
And for religious reasons, or like you said, to keep sacred, the burial. You don't want somebody digging up grandma, unnecessarily.
especially if she was 9 feet tall.
You just so you don't disturb those mounds until
Yeah.
it's like the curiosity after hundreds of years gets the best of somebody and see what they discovered.
Yep.
So I think that's what we want to touch on in this podcast series that we're doing now. We want to bring these little mysteries, the hidden gems that don't make the big splashy news headlines. We try to dig them up and bring them to you folks. We're going to be in Indiana. We're going to be all across the United States finding interesting stories to bring.
You said dig them up, pun intended.
Yeah.
Speaking of digging things up, let's talk about this Atlas thing that everybody's. Let's do a segment.
Okay.
Let's just call it Atlas Watch 25.
Okay.
As I kind of jokingly call it. Now they're saying that artificial light has been detected on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just came to the conclusion that it's just a rock.
To a certain degree, the artificial, that's one explanation of why it's so bright, that it has to be artificial to be that bright. There are some explanations by different scientists trying to describe a way in which it could be so bright, because otherwise it would be reflecting the sun's light. And this is way brighter than that. I think they referred to another comet that had passed through not too many years ago, and they said it's 200 times brighter than that comet. So, and in order to be as bright as it appears now, because they're only guessing it's somewhere between 3 and 5 or 3 and 7 miles wide. They're saying it needs to be almost 50 miles wide in order to be as bright as it is. So being so small, they're confused.
Must be headlights.
How it can be so bright, and
must be generated somehow.
It's generating some sort of. So is it nuclear fusion that's in there that's generating the light?
Is it burning?
Yeah, they can't see a distinguishable tail from this, like outgassing and the typical dust that would be on fire, like the flame coming from the back of a comet as it moves through. And it's still so far away and behind the sun or near the sun that it's still difficult for them to see and really pinpoint. But the spectrograms or whatever that, I mean, this is above my pay grade, but whatever they're using to detect it, the brightness is way out of scale for what it should be. So, which leads some people to think it's artificially made. Yeah, which is fun, which is exciting, because you're like, okay, artificial, that means either man-made or alien-made, or it's not natural of some sort.
For the listeners out there or the viewers on YouTube, leave a comment and let us know what you think it is. In the meantime, I was going to read a few comments from people of what they think it is based on today's artificial light video that we came across. So we got one guy saying, I'm no astronomer, but I am a physicist. And to me, it would be unconscionable to completely ignore this interesting object when so much could be learned by simply retasking when it's going to be destroyed anyway. Not doing this seems nuts. I think he's meaning basically something can be learned from this, regardless of alien life or no alien life. We could still learn something even from a rock, because it's only I don't know if people know this, because I just learned this. This is only the third object in history, in our history anyway, that something has come from outside of our galaxy. That we know of. It's only the third time. So it is significant. Even if it's just a rock, there's something to take from it. One person said, if they do drive by and see us, they're just going to shake their heads and keep on going, And I made the joke that
We're gonna lock their doors.
What if they go by and they look out the window and all of a sudden we just see them go, yeah, we're not interested.
You hear the doors locked, roll their windows up.
This guy says when it makes a hard right turn and heads straight toward Earth, they'll still say it's a comet. NASA saying they are not interested means they are studying it in the black. Some people think it's clickbait. Some people think that seeming to show no interest by NASA is what makes them think there's something to it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how can we say that they're showing no interest? I think they're meaning basically what we're reading in these headlines. And a lot of people like me say this is getting weirder by the day. And that's my point of even bringing this up, was like, it's getting wilder all the time. Like one day they say, oh, it's just a rock. The next day it's a ship. And then the next day it's light.
And then it's a menacing ship. And then it's making aggressive maneuvers. And, some of these attention grabbing headlines are far-fetched in my opinion. But
one person says, if I had $1 million to bet, I would bet on this being a completely natural object and that it will come and go without any fuss. However, not treating it as if it could be an artificial object is what we should be careful of.
But I don't know what we could do about it.
Exactly.
What are you gonna shoot a nuke up there? No. Preemptive, just in case.
The whole thing that I said yesterday, I was asked about this, and I said, suppose it stops and it's just hovering
there, right?
And it's outside of our atmosphere. We can do zero. There's no weapon we have.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
There's nothing we can do. So I would just, my final thought on, if I could just jump to the final thought on it, would be that while I hope it's something that we could learn from as far as another life form or something like that, I think at the end of the day, it's probably just a comet.
Yeah.
But I still think you can learn something from it. But I just think it'd be really cool that somebody pulls up and says, hey, you're not alone. And here's a book. We wrote this. This is what you guys need to do.
Here's the answers to every question you've ever asked.
Somebody else said when NASA and the government say don't worry, that's about the time I worry.
Well, I would agree with that. Don't look over here. We've got this under control.
Some people have some pretty good vocabulary here. The extreme outgassing is likely because this is a low metallicity comet that has never felt the warmth of a sun. Its entire surface is probably frozen hydrogen, whereas most regular comets have long since evaporated off their pristine outer layers and have nearly black organic surfaces. My best guess is we're seeing this thing get close enough to a star to outgas for the first time since it formed.
It's causing the bright light.
Alrighty, then.
That makes sense.
It's burning off. Yeah.
I'm a dummy, and that makes sense.
We will not be warned of anything. Get your house in order. Has no one seen The Fifth Element? Even if it is, quote, just a comet, unquote, NASA should be scrambling to get a better look.
Yeah, send a probe out there to meet it, to land on it, to get a sample. Get
3 months. Get it out there.
Can we build a lasso?
They've almost got it pinpointed to the day too when it'll pass by.
Is there an update now?
I thought they had narrowed it down to like
end of November,
mid-November, like November 17th to like December 30th or something like that. They had a nice little window there. Oh, it's saying not using Juno to investigate is something they should do. Okay.
And then there was the Project Bluebeam comment.
Yep, somebody else. It comes up every time.
It's all part of this big conspiracy to, have us believe we're under attack or invasion of space aliens.
But if you want us to protect you, you have to give us your rights.
Yes.
I don't know how I'm going to give you anything. What am I going to sign a document? What am I going to do? Right. We're going to send everyone an email. We want you to verisign this email.
We have to listen to your emails in case the aliens are trying to contact you. You have to read your emails, listen to your phone calls, gather all your text info in case they contact.
Press 1 to give up your rights.
Right.
We're going to give just a robocall. If it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, smells like a duck, it must be a comet with a big dust cloud. This person says 0% chance it's natural based on its behavior.
0%.
And because NASA seems a bit worried about it.
But NASA's saying no, nothing to worry about. So conflicting views there.
People say this will continue the same way as Nibiru did until it flies past. The amount of power needed for that much light at that distance seems to be the question. If it was up to me, I would be willing to use any and all assets to get a better look.
I did hear that
divert Juno. So there must be, is Juno a probe out there? I take it.
Must be. So I did hear that based on its size, the presumed size that they can tell right now, somewhere between 3.5 and 7 miles wide, that it would take 10 megawatts of power or gigawatts of power, something astronomical amount of power to make it glow as hot as it is or as bright as it is with that size. You know, not being a larger nuclear fusion ball of fire like a sun or something.
Yeah. So I figure we'll just throw this in as a segment into most of the pods.
Sure. Just an update
until it comes, until it's here.
Until December, till we see or don't see.
Somebody else said they will reserve judgment until they see either a clear photo or that it course corrects. Because at the moment it's like on the same plane as our planet.
And it's going to fly by 3 other planets, right? Or, you know, within reason, close by 200 million miles, but
it's a beryllium sphere. Galaxy Quest was really a historical document. If it starts emitting whale songs, we need to source an unused Klingon warbird. Okay. Considering how rare an interstellar object of that size supposedly is, and considering how weird it is, I am at a loss. What is the reason for them hesitating to move Juno? Well, we don't know that they're not. I don't know what that would take. Can you just hit a button and turn a satellite or a space probe? I mean, because don't they use the solar sails instead of propulsion because they don't have any fuel left?
Yeah, from my understanding.
And they can only turn those, you know, no idea how that would work. There's probably a lot to take into consideration there. Space junk, for one thing. There's a ton of junk. Let me just tell you, are we not just seeing a little bug on the lens on accident here? Because there is so much space junk out there. If you look it up, I don't know if it's NASA, but there's a website that you can actually see an image of what it looks like around the planet.
How many satellites and
there's like 30,000 trackable pieces of junk in space in our orbit.
Right.
Like, clean it up, guys. Get a magnet.
Is that inside the dome or outside the dome?
I'm not sure if it's under the flat part. I think it's where we go to the flat part.
Okay.
What if the forward-facing tail is actually the output of an engine that is slowing it down?
Oh.
Okay. Ooh.
Because it's going so fast, it has to slow down. Okay.
This person's convinced that there's plenty of intelligent alien life in the cosmos, even in our own star system. Our intelligence agencies have been covering it up for decades.
I'm all for a good conspiracy theory.
Definitely. If something decides that it wants to be seen, I don't know how you're going to cover that up. If it decides that it wants to be here,
and if it has the ability to get here, there's nothing you're going to do.
I kind of like that guy's idea about it slowing down. I didn't think about that. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. Does it take 500 million miles to slow down?
If it's 100 light years away, maybe. If they figured out a way to go that fast, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool, it's just kind of a cool theory, but
as to why it's so bright on that side of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely worth looking into. Every time I look at my feed, now that I've searched this a couple times, now that we've talked about this a couple times, and my phone's picked up the conversations, it comes through. So, but again, leave us in the comments what you think it is. Leave us in the comments if you know have any mounds near you, burial mounds. I know when we were kids, because of the Poltergeist movie, I've learned real fast what Indian burial grounds were and to stay the hell away from them. But, you know, living where we live around a lot of cornfields and stuff, it was always a consideration that there were Indian burial grounds, never mounds, but grounds.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and also let us know if there's anything else in Indiana you'd like us to
Yeah.
cover, or another state in
Yep.
the U.S. We're all about all the little hidden gems. All the
this is the American Anomalies podcast, and there are so many anomalies in America. Doesn't necessarily have to be UFO or alien. There are so many mysteries and urban legends and lore and things for us to go state by state and all around the place, and you know, find these little secrets and uncover them and tell these stories.
We'll have, going forward, we'll have a few in each episode, and yeah, feel free to give us your ideas and tips for what you want us to cover next.
Yep. Yeah, let us know what you think. This is a new direction for us going forward, and we thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time, I guess. Unless you got anything else.
Sounds
I think
good.
that's it. Cheers. Stay safe and keep searching.
All right.
Because they're out there.
Thank you.